Uh-oh.
In her last two fights. Good way hitting him from that way down.
Welcome to the motherfucking relay. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. Former two-division champion Billy Joe Saunders and close friend to Tyson Fury has declared that Tyson Fury can beat Alexander Usyk 3 times in one night.
3 times in one night? Odd that he couldn't do it once.
Once?
In one night.
I don't think there's a heavyweight out there that can outbox Usyk just picking for picking, but Tyson Fury can beat Usyk 3 times in one night with one simple game plan. It's very, very simple how to beat him. You have to use your size. You have to use your physical advantages. Every attribute you have. You need to use full effect with this man. I believe Tyson Fury will win the next fight, and I believe that he will win by knockout as well.
Is that possible? Is that true?
Well, I remember in the Derek Chisora fight, Derek gave Usyk some problems early on. Usyk was still acclimating to the heavyweight division, and we all know how Derek likes to go about fighting a fight. He likes to be rough and rugged, physical.
Give you the bum's rush. It sounds a lot like Billy's recommendation for Tyson is to do just that. Give Usyk the bum's rush. Outsize the little guy.
Does he stand a better chance
With Usyk.
of winning the rematch if he rushes Usyk than if he boxes Usyk like he did in their initial meeting? I think he'd stand a better chance giving him the bum's rush, perhaps the best chance, but it's not a guarantee that wins him the fight either.
Why not?
Remember how Tyson Fury started off that fight, and remember how he fought that fight. He fought the majority of that fight on the back foot, moving around, trying to use his height to walk Usyk into a shot. As soon as he started stepping into his own punches, trying for his own shots, that's when he got caught in between. So while he's hanging back and boxing, he's not really getting hit as much, but when he comes forward, that's when he gets caught. That's the caveat of trying to give Usyk the bum's rush. If you take the offensive,
You're likelier to get hit.
if you're the guy coming forward, you're likelier to get caught than if you're hanging back and trying to set a trap.
The other thing is that Fury lost rounds doing both, hanging back and coming forward. When he was hanging back, he wasn't doing enough. You're giving those rounds away. And when he came forward, well, that's when he got caught. That's when he almost got knocked out.
In the spirit of impartiality, of course it's possible that Fury could surprise us. It's possible, but is it probable?
Plausible.
Based on everything you know and everything you've seen, how likely do you think it is that Fury can turn it all around? As rematches are often won by the fighter who can change, the fighter who can adjust. I feel like that applies to the both of them, with the difference being Usyk knows he can hurt you now.
That's one.
The fighters' his habits and whether or not they actually take care of themselves outside of the ring.
That's two.
The pros and cons of the strategy. Coming forward, you're likelier to get hit, you're likelier to get caught, and coming forward and taking the initiative, you may burn through your energy reserves before he burns through his.
That's three.
Cardio. Cardio is something that Usyk is known for. As his opponent's energy reserves deplete as a fight progresses, he grows stronger as a fight progresses, more dominant as a fight progresses, round by round.
Who do you think has better cardio? Usyk or Fury? If Fury gets at him earlier, maybe that betters his chances, but also, getting at him earlier means you'll burn through your energy reserves earlier, and you'll have less left in the tank later on.
So you're counting Tyson Fury out?
No, I'm counting Alexander Usyk in, the way I have been counting him in throughout. So many treated it like it was a foregone conclusion that because Fury beat up Wilder.
Oh my God, look at what he did to Wilder. Imagine what he's gonna do to Usyk.
Isn't that what people were saying? That Fury is too big, he's too strong, he's gonna maul the little guy, he's gonna bulldoze him. Isn't that what people were saying?
It is. But what did I tell you? He's not going to fight Usyk the way that he fought Wilder because Wilder ain't got no feet, no footwork, no coordination.
He's not gonna give Usyk the bum's rush. I told you, he's gonna box Usyk. He's gonna hang back.
For the majority of the fight, that's what he did. And the only real success that he had in the fight was when he was hanging back and setting traps.
And even that wasn't enough.
It's not that I'm counting Tyson Fury out. It's that I'm counting Alexander Usyk in, the same way I have been counting him in. So many wanted to believe that both Fury and Wilder jointly were the number 1 and number 2 guys at the weight, and on that premise, they discounted and discredited everyone else, including Usyk.
That was stupid.
Very clever psy-op that worked on a lot of people who put them both on a pedestal for spending roughly 3 years just fighting each other.
In a bubble.
In a vacuum, the misguided souls who thought that Deontay Wilder was the bee's knees for knocking out no-hopers and stiffs, and the other idiots who thought Fury was the greatest for being the one that beat him. Based on their 2 fights with each other and what Fury did to Wilder, there were a lot of people in the boxing community that counted out Alexander Usyk, that counted out Anthony Joshua.
And the rest of the heavyweight division.
Because they had it in their mind that the only guy that can beat Wilder is Tyson Fury, and that Tyson Fury can't be beaten.
So how many times did you hear me on this channel say, that's bullshit?
It's not that Fury stands no chance. It's not that you have to count him out completely. It's that you have to count Usyk in.
So Fury can adjust, but so can Usyk. And Fury might have learned a thing or two from the first fight, but so has Usyk.
Thus, if you're going to give Fury any kind of odds to win the rematch, you have to also give Usyk odds to win the rematch.
Because it's not about counting Tyson Fury out. It's about counting Alexander Usyk in.
Fury wins if Fury loses. His Excellency Turki Al Sheikh has made it clear that he wants to make Fury versus Joshua next. If AJ beats Daniel Dubois on September 21st, he said he will make an offer to Fury versus AJ regardless of whether Fury wins or loses the Usyk rematch, and would want to make the all-British clash before either man gets a shot at a trilogy fight with Usyk.
It's funny how this breaks down.
So let's say that Usyk beats Fury for a second time, then Fury moves into that Anthony Joshua fight, and then Anthony beats him. I think there are going to be people out there that don't want to give Anthony credit for that win, credit for that victory.
They'll say that Fury's finished, he's washed up.
The same people that were likely urging Anthony Joshua to face Tyson Fury immediately after his second loss to Alexander Usyk. Remember that?
Immediately after Anthony lost the second fight to Usyk, Fury takes to calling him out, saying he wants to fight him at a very inopportune time.
When he was down in the dumps, coming off his second loss to Usyk and his third loss overall, Fury starts calling him out, knowing all of this.
An opportunist.
I didn't forget. So when I see that Turkey is still willing to make this fight, even if Fury loses later on this year, I can't help but think that that's karma, that's kismet, perhaps coming back to bite Tyson Fury on the ass. That you wanted to fight Anthony off a loss. Now, you may be put in that same situation. There are people that are going to want you to fight him off a loss.
Hey, Tyson Fury here, aka the Gypsy King, the WBC heavyweight champion of the world, as you can tell. I think you've all heard that I'm going to be fighting soon, within the next few months. And I think that before I announce an opponent, that I need to do this, just in case. Anthony Joshua, I know you've just lost a fight to Usyk, and you're beltless at the moment. And I'd like to give you an opportunity to fight me for the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the World and the Lineal Championship in the next few months. You're coming off a 12-round fight, so you're match fit, you're ready. I'm giving you a few months' notice. If you're interested, I'll send you the date over and we can rumble. A Battle of Britain for the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the World. Let me know if you're interested. If not, I will select another opponent. Thank you very much and good night.
Tyson Fury made that public call-out immediately after Anthony had lost to Usyk for the second time, and he knew what he was doing.
He's an opportunist.
Boxing is often dubbed the noble sport. The way I look at it, there are a lot of less than noble boxers. This brazen opportunism, he knew exactly what he was doing, and he knew exactly why he was doing it, so that he might find himself so confronted with that same situation just seems like karma to me.
If Fury loses the Usyk rematch, will he take the Joshua fight?
Turkey's willing to pay him a lot of money to take that fight. It's still commercially viable if Fury is up for it, but would Fury be up for it?
If he loses.
If he wins, then he might be. And it would be for Undisputed at heavyweight. Undisputed would once again be contested between Fury and Joshua in the event Fury beats Usyk.
So up until recently, we hadn't seen an Undisputed champion crowned at heavyweight in 25 years, I want to say, since Lennox Lewis retired.
Since then, in comes Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk and changes all that. An Undisputed champion has been crowned, but in the event that Fury wins, in the event that Fury beats Usyk in the rematch, Undisputed would once again be contested for.
Between Fury and AJ.
For some, that might be the ideal scenario. I think underneath it all, Eddie Hearn is still pulling for Tyson Fury to win because he knows if Fury wins, that makes the Joshua fight bigger. Joshua has to take care of business with Daniel, become IBF champion, and if Fury comes through his fight, you have another whale of a fight.
It's huge.
Still a big fight if Fury loses, but it is even bigger if Fury wins.
Now, do I think he's going to?
Not really. He can try to get off to an earlier start in the rematch. Not spend the first couple of rounds horsing around and playing to the crowd like he did the first time out. He can do that, he can try to, but the sooner you start stepping into your punches, that's as soon as it'll take for Usyk to catch you again.
Because as soon as you started opening up instead of hanging back, as soon as you started opening up, that's what happened.
And that's what could happen again. Fury is a little over a year younger than Usyk, I want to say. He is younger, but he doesn't take care of himself. So physically, he might be older, with more wear and tear, substance abuse, and bad dietary habits. Even if we've seen Tyson Fury in a number of rematch situations, like the rematch with John McDermott, the rematch with Derek Chisora, or the rematches with Deontay Wilder, very few of those rematches were immediate.
After the first fight with John McDermott, that controversial fight, he had a couple of fights in between before he fought John again. The same applies to Derek Chisora. He fought him the first time, then he had a couple of fights in between before he fought him again.
Same with Wilder. He fought Wilder for the first time, signs to Top Rank, then he fights Tom Schwarz, Otto Wallin.
It's not till after that he fights Wilder again.
Because this rematch with Usyk is an immediate rematch with no other fights in the interim, no other fights in between. I don't think that favors Tyson Fury.
I think that favors Usyk, because we have seen Usyk in a rematch situation that was an immediate rematch situation. The two fights with AJ, there were no interim fights in between.
An immediate rematch situation favors Usyk to me more than Fury, because Fury's not being given that much time to solve this puzzle. He's under pressure, and I don't think psychologically he handles pressure well. If he did, he wouldn't have absconded for 2 years after he beat Vladimir.
So, while the potentiality of another undisputed title fight is there, if Fury wins the Usyk rematch,
He won't.
I don't think he's going to. I think he's going to lose, and this time, I think he's going to get knocked out.
Zhilei Zhang thinks AJ is going to get knocked out. Zhilei Zhang predicts Daniel Dubois will knock out Anthony Joshua, saying, I personally favor Daniel Dubois to pull this off. He had a beautiful knockout victory against Philippe last time. He will shock the world. It may end with a knockout, and Joshua's chin is always a question.
Question mark.
Observations like this one, I find them funny because Anthony Joshua boxed Alexander Usyk 2 times and finished the fight on his feet both times, whereas Daniel Dubois, he finished the fight on his knees.
They fought the same guy. He's got the same characteristics, same power, and the difference is Anthony was able to take his power for 24 rounds without getting knocked out, whereas Daniel couldn't. But it's Anthony's chin that has the question.
And remember the Kevin Lerena fight. Kevin Lerena, a cruiserweight that moved up in weight just like Usyk, He sat Daniel down a couple of times too. He made him taste the canvas too.
But it's Anthony's chin that has the question mark.
The way I see it, yeah, both guys can hurt each other. Daniel's a strong puncher, and so is Anthony, but Daniel's been downed by lighter punchers than Anthony Joshua. He's been downed several times
By cruiserweights.
So when you say that there's a question mark above Anthony Joshua's punch resistance, I feel like that applies more to Daniel than Anthony, and I feel like Zhang is only saying what he's saying because he has an axe to grind. He harbors malice that during his time at Matchroom, he never got the Joshua fight. Even if he's become somewhat of a boogeyman now, somewhat of a dark horse, I remember that when he was at Matchroom, he didn't look nothing spectacular.
Maybe in his own mind, he feels that he was avoided.
That Anthony Joshua avoided him, but avoided him to fight who? Alexander Usyk 2 times?
Usyk was his mandatory challenger. Before that, Kubrat Pulev was his mandatory challenger. What was he supposed to do? Throw his belts in the garbage to fight you?
If he wouldn't have fought those guys, he would have been stripped of his titles. So he was only doing what he had to do. But in Zhang's own mind, he likely wants what he wants and has a skewed perspective, a skewed account of events historically. He feels like he was avoided.
Where I disagree.
In 2020, he was fighting his mandatory challenger via the IBF in Pulev. In 2021, he was fighting his mandatory challenger via the WBO in Usyk. He lost the fight to Usyk. He lost the belts.
Exercised his rematch clause. He couldn't get them back.
Now you don't start looking like nothing to pay attention to until you fight Filip Hrgovic. But the Filip Hrgovic fight was Zhang's final fight under his existing Matchroom deal. After that, he went to Queensbury. That's what happened.
He goes to Queensbury, becomes a boogeyman over there because he beats Joe Joyce 2 times, and good for him.
Though you don't start looking like any kind of a boogeyman. No, you don't start looking formidable until your time at Matchroom was done. Before that, Zhang looked like a pretty beatable guy, so the idea that they were avoiding you...
The guy who went life or death with Jerry Forrest.
I'm just saying that while he was at Matchroom, he didn't look nothing spectacular, so the idea that he was being avoided while he was there, I don't buy it. I don't believe it. And I think the only reason Zhang is saying what he's saying is because he has an axe to grind.
Unbiased, impartial opinions in the sport of boxing are hard to come by, let alone good ones that are of some use.
That are accurate. Someone who can evaluate a situation, evaluate a fight, call it down the middle, and give you a good idea, a good picture of what's going to happen. Oftentimes, when you talk to the fighters, that's not what you get. That's not the case. There's always some kind of ulterior motive. There's always some kind of agenda from the people within boxing.
It's not that Daniel doesn't stand a chance. It's not that him knocking out Anthony is out of the question. It's not that. It's that when Zhang says it, what's really motivating that?
Is he calling it down the middle, or is he only saying that because that's what he wants to happen? That's what he would prefer.
Maybe he figures he would sooner get a fight with Daniel than he'd get a fight with Anthony. So he'd prefer that Daniel win.
Remember that Zhilei Zhang is aligned with Queensbury Promotions now. He fights under that banner. He figures if a Queensbury fighter wins, he'll have access to them. The access he doesn't have, the Matchroom fighters.
So is it that he believes Daniel will win, or is it that he wants Daniel to win?